Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Emily, and on this channel we talk about disability advocacy as well as mental illnesses with my experiences with being legally blind, having depression, and anxiety. Alright, first of all, my ear is like going, you know, like when the sound, like your ears are clogged or something and you got the sound going in and out of one ear? That's what's going on right now. Bear with me. I sound funny. I hope I don't actually sound funny. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about my experiences with Lyft and Uber as a visually impaired rider. So, y'all, I have tried to film a video of y'all actually going with me as I request a ride, go on a ride, arrive at a destination, and then get a ride back from said destination and then back home. I have filmed this 5 times. I kid you not. It's driving me insane. The first time I accidentally recorded like a fast forwarded video. I don't know how I did that. I don't know. The other times the sound was bad. The other time my dogs were barking in the background. It's just not happening. So while this is not a video of y'all actually going on a ride with me, it is a bit of a story time because I had one bad Lyft experience. So I'm going to talk about that and give some advice, like as a driver and as a rider with someone with a disability. Because again, I'm legally blind, I'm nearsighted, I still have sight. I have 2200 in my right eye and 2400 in my left eye. So what that means, if y'all haven't seen my video on congenital varicella retinitis and nystagmus, it is one of my first few videos that really goes in depth about my vision. But basically, something that is 20 feet away will appear to be like between 20 and 400 feet away. So yeah, I see better close up, but I do have to wear contacts to be able to see like cars, people, like big things, you know? So let me first start by saying my experience. Well, no, hang on. I need to first explain how I use it to then tell you a story. That makes more sense. So as a rider who's visually impaired, what I do is I request a ride, obviously from my destination, usually from my home. I work from home. I'm pretty much always here unless I go out and about with like my husband and our daughter. But I'm home a lot, right? So if I want to go out and about, I request a ride for my home. It is a house. It's not like an apartment building or anything. So it's simple. It's easy. I don't really get anxious when I request a ride for my home. What it is when it connects you with a driver, it will pop up with a picture of a person and a stock image of the car that like they input. So like whenever you register your vehicle as a driver with Lyft and Uber both, I don't know if y'all actually they have to send a photo into the company, but you put in the specifications. You have to put in the year, the make, the model, and the color. And so it'll say like gray Honda, 2018 gray Honda Civic or something like that. It may not even say the year anymore, but basically it's a silver Honda Civic or gray Honda Civic. And if it's a car that I know what it looks like, because again, I can see bigger things, but if it's a car I'm not familiar with, I will Google image what that car emblem looks like from the front, because the car is going to be coming this way, right? And then the side, so I know like, it's funny because I'm a very visual person, but I have to see close up. So like I look at the front emblem, like Toyota, you know, Honda, Dodge has like that cross T shape thingy, you know what I'm talking about. So I look for the emblem on the front, and then like, does it have any indentations on the sides? Does it have those pop-up lights on the front? You know, I look at visual cues like that, because while it also does have the license plate number, and that is so important, because any rider, like the app will tell you, hey, be sure and check the license plate number and your driver's name. I can't read those unless I'm right up in front of the car, like actually at the plate, and I don't like to do that because it usually makes other people confused, makes me uncomfortable. Like I don't do that unless I'm really anxious, I feel uncomfortable that day, and I just want to double check. But again, how many like silver Honda Civic are going to pull up in my house to pick me up. Should be just one, right? And then what I do is, you know, I look at the app, look at the car to make sure, because you can see it on a map, like as it pulls up. So as it's pulling up, I'm looking like, okay, yep, that's the car, that's it. And then as I do that, they typically like roll down the window and I ask them for their name and it matches the app, the person, like the driver. And then I get in and then they're like, oh, are you Emily? And I'm like, yes. Which, here's tip number one. You don't want to say, hey, are you John, if your driver is John, because if someone is going to pose as your driver and try to take advantage of you in like a dangerous situation that you may or may not have seen on the news, they are just going to say yes, right? Because maybe they're bad. I don't know. I want to be careful how I talk about this. I don't want to trigger anyone or scare anyone. But, you know, so you say, hey, what's your name? Ask them to tell you, right? So there's that. And then the license plate, you can match it. I don't, again, as a visually impaired rider. So I match the color, the make of the car, and everything, and the driver's name, and then I get in. They also have this safety feature where you can share your ride with someone. So I always share it with my sister because my sister always has her phone. She works from home. She's on call. She always has her phone. Hey, Catherine. Anyways, so I share my ride with her always, and she thumbs up and she's like, yep, I got you. So that she knows when I'm arrived, okay, good. And then I also have the emergency SOS set up on my iPhone so that if something bad were to happen, you just press that side button a bunch of times. It's got the emergency SOS thing, and then it'll alert emergency contacts. So, and emergency personnel. So that's how I use it. Now, going back from a destination is the scarier part because there's, like, for instance, the outlet mall. I oftentimes will get a ride to the outlet mall, go shopping, and then I want to go home. That does spike my anxiety because like if I go on a weekend, the outlet mall is crazy. Like people are honking, there's traffic, you can't even cross the street. It's insane. So I know it's going to be a little bit harder to get a ride and to make sure I'm in the right car and that I don't go to the wrong car. I've never gone into the wrong car, but I have years ago, like when my family was picking me up. Super embarrassing. And I never want that to happen again. So this brings me to my story time. Whenever I get a ride from a place, say the outlet mall, like this one time, my favorite store is a corner store. Well, not a gas station. It is a store on the corner, okay? So the store wraps around from here to here. It's a big store. And this way is like the flow of traffic is going this way, right? So I requested the ride from the store that was on the said corner, but there are benches here so you can sit, and then there's like the parking lot here. So it makes more sense to me as a driver, and I don't know, I don't drive, so maybe I'm not thinking the same as a driver, but I was sitting on these benches here waiting for my ride, and there were plenty of spaces, like parking spots over here. There was no traffic right here. The flow of traffic was going this way, and like you would not stop that way, right? Those cars are going, it's busy, right? So I was thinking the driver would pull in here and pick me up. Simple. So I'm tracking my driver, and the other thing on the map is I like to see what direction they're coming from. Are they coming from this way or this way? So I can be on lookout, like, okay, a gray Honda Civic is coming this way. Oh, I see it, right? And then follow it. Because I can see the colors, I can see the big cars. But the other thing to think about is I like to get a ride in a less crowded place because, like at an outlet mall, when it's crowded, there could be 3 gray Honda Civics back to back to back. I would hope not, but it's like my anxiety is like, it'll probably happen to me, right? So anyway, so I get a call and it's this lady, she's my Lyft driver, and she's like, hi, where's the store? Well, first of all, Uber and Lyft provide you with a map. So like I'm directionally challenged. I don't know where anything else in the outlet mall is. Like I know where my top 5 stores are and that's it. So, and I'm directionally challenged. Like I may know one way to a store from the outside to the inside, but if you're coming from another direction, I'm lost. I have no idea where I am. Like directionally challenged. It has nothing to do with my vision. I cannot, like which way is north, south, I don't know, right? So she calls me, and luckily I can read some store names because they're bigger than others. So I look over and I'm like, oh, H&M is right there. Also, H&M is like huge, red letters. Hello, I can read it. I love it. So I'm like, oh, H&M is directly across from the store. The store is on a corner. I'm sitting over here. And she was like, oh, okay. And she's coming from this direction, right? So I'm sitting here. She's coming from this direction, right? From in front of me and going this way. So and again, there's that flow of traffic. So she finally makes her way over there and she says, oh, okay, I'm here. And I'm looking and it's like a line of silver cars. I don't even know. So I'm like, which one is it? I have no idea. And she goes, hello, why can't you see me? And she's apparently waving through the windshield. And another thing is I cannot see through windshields. Oftentimes they're tinted. It could depend how far away they are, or if I do see a person, I can't see detailed enough to see if it's a male, if it's a female, if they're waving to me. Like, no, ain't gonna happen. So she was like, hello, why can't you see me? Like, talking to me urgently. And she's literally in this line of cars, and I'm like, wow, cool, okay, I didn't want this to happen. So I said, oh, I'm actually visually impaired. She didn't hear me again. She sounds irritated. Hello. Finally, she pulls up to the curb and like unlocks the car. So I open the car, I get in, and my anxiety was like spiked. This day, I was just so anxious. I had a bad like postpartum anxiety day this day, and then my husband had friends over, which was no big deal. Like, it was a fantasy football party. Great, no big deal. I knew it was there. But I was so overwhelmed that day, I just wanted to escape. So I put the baby down for a nap and I was like, I'm going down the mall, I can't. So I do, and I was supposed to meet friends there. Well, they couldn't make it. I was by myself. I started to get depressed and I was just like about on the verge of a mental breakdown, right? So then this happens and I'm like, oh my gosh, like one more thing to spike my anxiety, right? So I get in and I say, oh, I'm actually legally blind. And she goes, oh, and she's older. And I try not to discriminate against age, but part of me wonders if her age had to do with the fact that she had no filter. So, again, I say I'm legally blind. She says, oh, well, where's your cane? You're out here shopping by yourself? How do you do that? Can you see? And I was just like, a flood of questions, and it was the way she asked, why can't you see me, and then asking me all these like intrusive questions. And y'all know I have no problem talking about my disability, but the way she worded why can't you do this was so like, I know I shouldn't take things personally, but it felt like blaming me for my disability. And like on my worst days, I would do that. Like, why can't I just do this? Why can't I be normal? Like, you know what I mean? So I use that against me. And for someone else to word it that way is like, if I could, I would have. Like, don't be disrespectful, right? I'm already having a hard day. Like, I just need to get from point A to point B and get home. So I told her kindly, I said, oh no, I'm nearsighted. I wear contacts. I love shopping. Like, yeah, I have to read things closer up. So like whenever I do look for a certain size, I can't just look up and look at like the tabs. I have to actually like look at those like this close up. Yeah, that may be a struggle, but if I am like walking around and I see cute clothes, oh my gosh, my radar goes off. Like, I love shopping too much. It's a problem. But so I was telling her like, no, I have no problem. I don't need a cane. I'm just really nearsighted. And she was like, oh, okay, no big deal, no problem. But it was not the day for that. And I think it was impolite, unprofessional as well for a Uber Lyft driver to do that. Your job is to get me from point A to point B. Some people talk, some people don't, but don't ask a rider, why can't you do this? You probably won't get a good review. I was too nice. I gave her a 5-star review. And the thing is, I had she's driven me somewhere before. No problem. I liked her. But this time it was just not a good day. I finally made it home. I have a mental breakdown, had a panic attack, and I was just like fed up. And I did not want to go on a Lyft ride after that for the longest time, because it's just not, never ask someone, why can't you do this? Okay. It makes no sense. Why would you ask someone that? Why? There's no reason for it. You never know what kind of people you're going to come into contact with. And so someone may have an invisible disability, mental illness. You have no idea. Your job is to get someone from point A to point B respectfully. You can make small talk, but don't ask intrusive questions like that, please. I have no problem talking to people about my disability. Y'all know that, right? And I did talk to her about it, but you don't know what someone's going through. You just don't. To me, it's the wording, it's how you ask people. And so that is my story. I actually did take a Lyft ride after that, and it was perfectly fine. I haven't had an issue since, but I just started to think of like tips and things, and I wanted to share my story because if you are a Lyft or Uber driver, be careful how you word things. Also take into consideration, if you're going to pick someone up, you may not know. They may have a disability and you not know it. So try to hold that responsibility on you. If you don't know where something is, use the map, the tools that it gives you. Because the other thing is, like, again, I don't know, like, she called to ask me, hey, where's the store? I was able to tell her, but if I couldn't have, I would have just had to say, sorry, I don't know, I'm visually impaired. Use the map. Like, it's given it to you, right? That's on you to figure out. And I'm not trying to say that in a disrespectful way, but literally, if I can't, you gotta have to figure it out, you know? I was able to, but just something to consider. Think about how you word things, right? And as a writer, make sure, like, even if you have one bad experience, don't let that taint your life. Like with that app, I was able to use it since I haven't had any bad experiences, but I know that there may be times I need to tell a driver and be open about it and say, hey, I'm visually impaired. Because I have had that happen. Like whenever I've had drivers take me somewhere, they'll be looking on for the store and I'll say, hey, just so you know, I'm visually impaired. I've never been here before. I'm sure we can find it, but I just wanted to let you know in case you want me to help you find it, I may not be able to read it. And I've never had a bad experience. When I do open up about that, I just know I need to be willing to say that if I need to. Or if I'm getting picked up from somewhere and it's a busy place, if I can't find a secluded place to be picked up from, I will say, hey, I'm a visually impaired rider. I'm in a maroon shirt and shorts and I have a flower tattoo. You know, like I will let them know if I need to, but I don't just tell everyone because I want to be safe. I don't want anyone to try to take advantage of me. And it's sort of like a need to know basis, and I'm okay with talking about it on good terms. If you're going to be respectful about it, sure, I'll be happy to talk about it, you know? So, but I do try not to get a ride at night. I have before, but I was with a group of friends and I let them know, hey, I'll do it on my phone, but you got to be able to find the car. I may not be able to see it, right? So that's ways that I do use it. Actually, the cool thing is some drivers, I don't know like the requirements for this, but I have had a driver who has like a bright light on their dashboard. That's awesome. I don't know if every single car has that, so it would kind of defeat the purpose if I was like in a crowded spot and all 5 cars had a light. Like how would I know which is mine? But I'm just saying, like, it is a cool thing. I love that they have it. I also have had drivers who, when I request the ride and it connects me with the driver, if it'll say, hey, your driver is hard of hearing or deaf, and it will have a link to an ASL dictionary. Awesome. Like I've had 2 drivers like that, and I was like fully prepared to sign, right? Because I know sign language. I can't really read it, right? Because I'm so visually impaired, but I can sign it. So if I have to tell them something, I can. So I was like fully prepared to sign that day, and they talked to me fine. So I'm like, oh, okay, I just have to speak up, I guess. I don't know. But I didn't ask them about it, like, you know? So, anyways, be kind, be considerate of how you word things. You never know who you're going to come into contact with. And I think if we just be kind and considerate and respectful of everyone, we'll have a lot easier time in life. Good karma, good vibes. I just wanted to share my experiences. If y'all actually do want to see a like ride with me video, I will. And I will try to make it actually happen, but I'm not going to try and film it for a 6th time unless you all want to see that. So let me know in the comments down below if you do want to. Please don't forget to like or subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. Please, it does really help me. If I can reach one person out there who's struggling, who wants to connect to someone, who wants to learn more about this community, it really helps me out. So anyways, I hope y'all are having a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.